My papa's got a brother, and we call him Uncle Jordan. Now, Uncle Jordan, he has an ex-roommate who dated one of the gals, you won't believe this, who was at the very front of that Konami office, and she overheard not only when the ban list would be, but what's on it. You wanna hear? It feels like every single time we're nearing the ban list that you get these kinds of stories. What's good YouTube, and welcome to the house. People actually are running with these and trying to proclaim they're real, trying to claim like they know, and it's just never going to happen. But with no sooner than being literally tomorrow, this is probably your 5th ban list video in your feed. I want to revisit the discussion of a no list versus there being a list, and problems that I think need to be addressed. So Konami is pushing remote duels harder. Locals are relying on these remote duels and the online format in order to keep things interesting past just product releases, to help cards continue to sell for them. Also, they're giving out OTS packs that way. They're able to during this time, so they get an extra attraction to people playing in their online events. I think that they still need to visit the health of the game, and they can do that without saying, yeah, we looked over at Dueling Book. In fact, they don't have to say anything to us. When it comes to the ban list, there's relatively low communication from Konami on the changes they're making and why. But last list was indeed a pardon list. These are the 3 only changes that happened, and they did not bother to limit or restrict anything, and tons of people are saying this list also is going to be the same. They're not going to do it. The updates to the game have been through the core set, but when you get on that level over and over and over again, you're going to get to an absurd power creep and a game that is repetitive. And I want to get into kind of the repetitive problems right now. So we're going to switch on over to this card scene and talk about some potential peel-offs and the problems. To keep things fresh, things I think could peel off to either sell future product, or in some cases, maybe it isn't the greatest idea to do so. I think Rusty Bardish might have an eye from Konami to help sell Phantom Rage, such as Deep Sea Diva going to 3 to help with the new Deep Sea archetype and try to push Mermail Atlanteans. That certainly is great for the Mermail Atlantean deck, and you saw some extra support for hand loops, my brother. Not the healthiest thing. Rusty, good old Rusty, is a +3 in a lot of senses after you get him going, but you can't link up with him. With Orcus restricted and how it's currently playing, I could see this push maybe happening. And also talking other peel-offs, a lot of people have been pointing out Tri-Brigade, maybe Trident could go to 3, maybe that's the healthiest thing, but I like where it's at, where Zoo players have to be very careful with their Trident, and you have to remember how hated this deck was, and is still in memories of many duelists who have survived throughout the community. There's not that much fresh blood that doesn't remember Zoo format within the community. Broad Bull still generically searches very broad and wide. That's kind of funny to go with the name. But when it comes to this card, people are talking about him coming off, and when it's so just any beast warrior type monster that can be normal summoned or set from your deck to your hand. That is such a range of cards. And Rapier being able to go special, 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 special probably is healthy where it's at 1. So I think out of the Zoo things, my favorite call that people are making is Dryden at 3 if we're talking further peel-offs. But what's happening with the game that's unhealthy, John? Why don't you like where it's at? Many decks are doing the same thing. Decks are supposed to be unique in creation, but thanks to one card, many decks are going down the same route. Halki Fibrax, aka Needle Fiber, this has caused people to play just tuner engines within decks. You're seeing Eldritch and Adamancipator end on similar boards just with little extra pieces because they can go up into Linkross, into Auroradon, and then go Herald Savage. They also can go towards Calamities depending on the deck they want to play, all through this one card. So you get multiple boards that just say, you can't play, but I'm going to do the same combo. You're eating the same noodles, basically, from multiple decks, and that's not cool. You don't want all these decks to feel like you're playing against the same thing when they are different decks. And we have another card that's going to do that soon, which is Dragoon. Now, people are calling for early hits on Dragoon. Hit the Red Eyes Fusion, hit the Verte Anaconda, stop the Dragoon. First off, this is one of the most selling cards from the March set, and bleeding value that early for a card that's not that unhealthy and hasn't been a problem till now? I don't think so. Second off, you're going to try to hit something around what was released in a set 4 days ago. I know this is a big boss boy that is very hard to deal with. It can't be destroyed by card effect or targeted by card effects, and then on top of it he has a negate and he gets buffer and power. But in the TCG we'll see Access Code Talker at least run this over a bit more often. But yes, it's a headache to deal with, and pretty much any deck can do it thanks to Verte. So we are now getting a second engine where many decks will feel like, but with Dragoon. That's what happened all last night on stream. Oh, I'm running Trickstar, but hear this, with Dragoon. I'm playing Guru, but get this, with Dragoon. Like, yeah, I get it. Your deck has Dragoon in it, and you're trying to use this to make it more viable. Guru is, like, viable on its own anyways, and it's like Thanos collecting the Infinity Stones. S0. Dragoon. Speaking of Floodgates for long terms in S0, remember when people wanted a Abyss Dweller ban just a couple formats ago during Solid Orcas? Oh, a turn-long Floodgate on the graveyard, that's so powerful. It came out in a nice Ultimate Rare, and people stopped complaining. Well, there are 2 turn-long Floodgates that could be dealt with. I was really impressed with Sam's Dinosaur win, and how when he was playing, he did not rely on Calamities consistently, but this is still a card that it's about its time to go. While it requires a lot of resources for most decks to go into it, it is just so choking out in gameplay, especially considering that it stops all in their possession with that attribute, so it just gets stronger in games 2 and 3 when you know what you're playing against. And S0 with the Numeron engine. The Numeron engine was not short printed within the set, it was actually overprinted. I feel like Konami's fine hitting this. It doesn't bleed too much value from a new release, and it chokes out the game once again. And that was happening a bit ago, right? But with the Numeron engine, and that kind of just disappeared over the past couple days, and really with Rise of the Duelist and people going Dogmatica and trying that out, it does feel like there's been a healthy amount of people going, and let's go back over to the list to a bit, with releases instead of relying on the ban list. That's been keeping the game fresh and interesting. At first, people were like, this format, have you tried it? And then they tried it, and it's like, wow, it's actually pretty diverse. We're doing these different things. These other decks are coming out. It's not just Adamancipator and Eldritch everywhere. Now these different decks are coming in from Rise of the Duelist, from Battles of Legend. But is it healthy to continue to release like that? No, because power creep is the end message of that. When you continue to use power creep as the way to change your card game, it gets out of control and check, no matter how interesting you're making it, because you're going to speed up the game, it's going to hit a point of no return, and that's not okay for card creation, nor for the strain. We have this unique thing in the Yu-Gi-Oh community, which is the ban list. We rely on this for change because we have the entire card pool accessible, and I love Yu-Gi-Oh for that. When an old card becomes good, example, Fairy Wind during Pendulums, back from ancient times, like, this card suddenly is a good card that was a bulk common. That is so freaking cool, and I don't want to get to a point where Konami doesn't have a point of return besides rotating sets. I think that would be terrible for the game. There's a reason Yu-Gi-Oh has done so well on this system and has such hardcore fans, and if you end up relying on rotating sets, you're going to see a way different kind of game, and we're going to lose what Yu-Gi-Oh really means, in my opinion. So when it comes down to it, when it comes down to all these cards, oh, I missed one. Yeah, hand loops are kind of unhealthy as well, so I would like to see this taken care of, and I have a feeling that's why Konami hasn't actually, reprinted this card, and it's so expensive. But Infernoble Knights need some win cons, and if you take it all away, John, what are your hits for the Needle Fiber engine? I would say Link Ross is very reasonable, and I think it makes Auroradon healthier to where you need to go straight into the tuner and then up into this, or you would need to work a lot harder. I don't think Herald or Savage are the answers for hits. I think they're bystanders in the situation of the enablers, and as long as the enablers exist, you're going to find more degenerate things with them. That being said, Thanks for watching this Banlist video if you made it all the way till here. I know there's quite a few of them today. I wanted to put my 2 cents in. As we've neared, my thoughts have changed a little, but not too much. Too many decks doing the same thing is terrible for the game. We need some actual hits on this list. I think Konami will do some actual hits on this list for locals and the health of the game, but what are your thoughts on it? Please subscribe if you haven't already. If you're big brain 500 IQ Galaxy going ahead and getting cards and predicting the ban list, use that TCG player link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra to support the channel directly for the cards you'd already be buying. And yeah, the ban list is such a big subject in this game. I know it's fodder content. I know that it's, in a lot of people's eyes, though, something really cool to talk about because it's a unique aspect to this game and there's so many emotions and thoughts behind how the list can turn out.